Weirdos, I'm Felicia and I like scary movies, and it's currently almost midnight. How did this happen? I don't know. I decided I'm going to do a part 2 to my PG-13 horror movies video. You guys seem to really like it, and I offered a part 2 and you accepted, and here we are back with the notebook. So I basically have 5 more really excellent PG-13 horror films that I'm excited to talk to you guys about tonight. Lauren actually just left. We recorded a bunch of podcast episodes, which I'm really excited about, and it was really, really fun. And we did drink quite a bit of wine. And here I am, and I said I wanted to film this video tonight. I didn't really realize how late Lauren would be here, but I decided I was just going to do it anyway, because, I don't know, I was just feeling really determined. And so here we are, freaking doing it. Freaking doing it. Okay. First on our list, we have Drag Me to Hell from 2009. So this is a Sam Raimi movie. This one was supposed to be sort of his like re-entrance into the horror genre. He had just come off of, I think, 3 Spider-Man movies, and he wanted to go back and do horror, which is really awesome. And so I think I did see this movie when it came out, and I remember being so terrified, particularly of the old lady in it. For a little bit of plot for you, so it's about a loan officer who refuses an extension for a loan to an old woman who in turn curses her. And it is an intense curse, it is. And this loan officer has to then fight to save her own soul. And what's interesting about this is the main character we have is actually like a very sweet person. And the reason she denies this loan initially is because her boss is basically just a total jerk and is like, if you don't toughen up, you're not going to get the promotion. And she's like, fine, I'll be tough. And she just, like, denies the loan for this woman that, like, really, really needs it. And the woman's like, I'm gonna curse you. And the curse is really intense. So obviously, it's, like, dragging her to hell. Hence the title. But what I found so scary is that the way in which this old woman keeps popping up, it's, like, full-on highexploitation. It's, like, so freaking scary and really, really effective, I will say. Now, this is one of the movies that I haven't actually seen in many years, but I do want to rewatch it soon because I just remember liking it so much. Also, fun, like, random fact that I found about it is that Ellen Page was actually initially cast to be in this movie, and she turned it down to do Whip It, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, I guess that was the right choice. Also, if you've never seen Whip It, it's not a horror movie, but it's about roller derby. It is everything. It is everything. Okay, next up we have Skeleton Key, another blonde white girl movie. So this came out in 2005. It was directed by Ian Soaptley, and it stars Kate Hudson, Bow Chicka Wow Wow, and Gina Rowlands, who I love. She was also in The Notebook. Okay, so Kate Hudson is actually, I mean, not that I've ever denied her acting abilities, but she is so good in this movie. It's basically about a hospice nurse who's working in a New Orleans giant plantation house caring for this old man who's about to die and his wife, who is Gina Rowlands. And while she is there, she finds herself entangled in a mystery involving the house's dark past. Now, this is a movie that I probably rented 1,000 times. I have seen this movie, and what's funny is I haven't really watched it in recent years, but after it came out, I watched it over and over and over and over again. And I do think, and I've talked about this in the past, but it was one of those movies that, like, because it was PG-13, my mom let me rent it and never really paid attention to what she was always paying attention to what I was watching, but this particular movie somehow slipped under the radar. It was like this one and Interview with the Vampire, and I just freaking watched those movies, just tore those DVDs up. But anyway, the acting is great, the story is great, and there is an excellent twist. Man, I love this movie. I have to revisit it. This is like, I'm having so much fun with these PG-13 videos because a lot of these are older that I watched when I was a teenager. And so now it's like, I gotta rewatch. I'm so excited. Okay, next up, a more recent film. A Quiet Place from 2018. So as you know, the new Quiet Place Part 2 is coming out this year. I can't remember when. But it is about a family forced to live in silence to hide from monsters with ultra-sensitive hearing. So this was directed and stars John Krasinski. He also helped write the script. And this also, of course, stars his wife, Emily Blunt. So the thing that's really cool about this movie is that there's only 25 voiced lines of dialogue in it. It is mostly a silent film, which I just think is such a cool idea. There is also one character, the daughter in the movie, that is deaf, it plays out in interesting ways throughout the movie. But I just love this idea of having like a silent horror film again, but of the modern age and what that means. And I think they accomplished it really, really well. In particular, I always think about like the bathtub scene. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, even though I think it might be in the trailer. But that scene was apparently done in one take by Emily Blunt. One take. You kidding me? Oh my god, she's amazing. But there is so much that you can do with the idea of taking away someone's voice and how you're going to communicate and how you're going to survive without that voice. It's really interesting, and I liked it a lot. So I will also mention here, I don't know what it's rated, but The Silence, which was actually made basically around the same exact time as A Quiet Place, but ended up being released a year after because obviously they realized they made the same movie. And that is the one that is on Netflix that has Kiernan Shipka and Stanley Tucci. And it's also quite good. And I actually like the monsters in The Silence better than the monster we end up with in A Quiet Place. Just saying. A Quiet Place is probably a better movie, but I did like a lot of things about The Silence. That's on Netflix. Okay, next up we have, of course, how could I not, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So this is, of course, based off the books that everyone read in the first grade and scared the bejesus out of them. I've talked about this in my review of this movie and just on this channel before, but the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books were sort of my first introduction to horror. All the imagery in there, the drawings, just freaking freaky, and I loved it. So this movie was honestly everything I wanted it to be. I know some people weren't as thrilled with it, but I had a blast watching this movie. Honestly, it was like everything I felt like I would have wanted in a movie when I was like 11, 12, 13, 14. Like, it has like everything I would have wanted. It is spooky, it is weird, and it's just great. And my favorite thing about it is, of course, you have it is directed by Andre Overdahl, who brought us Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is another excellent horror film, but it's also, you know, produced by Guillermo del Toro, and we really get a sense of him in this movie, especially with the creatures. And the creature designs in this are one of my favorite things, particularly Harold the Scarecrow, and all that they could do. And what I love about this is all the horror they could implement in this movie while keeping it PG-13. And while directing it towards kids, but still keeping it pretty scary. I really appreciated that, and I loved the movie. All right, and last but not least, this is another sort of two-parter, if you will, but I have The Haunting from 1999, which I didn't actually realize was PG-13, but it is, and that is based off, of course, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And I will also just mention casually that the 1963 film The Haunting was rated G. And I actually think that one might be scarier in certain ways. It's in black and white. It's a little more ominous. I don't even know. There's like more sense of dread going on. But The Haunting definitely has a bit of a 90s feel to it, but I really do enjoy the 1999 version. It has a pretty banging cast. It has Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson, and Lily Taylor, who plays Nell, who I think she is such a great Nell. And if you don't know, the Haunting of Hill House, they do change the premise up a little bit in different versions of this. But in the 1999 version, everyone is coming to this house to basically participate in a sleep study because they are all insomniacs and they can't sleep for whatever reason. In the 1963 version, they had what the original book is, which is people coming to sort of investigate the paranormal. And these people have been brought there because they have shown signs of being somewhat clairvoyant or having a sense about these spooky things. But in the 1999 version, it's like a sleep study, but pretty much as soon as they get there, they realize that the house is super duper haunted. And I think Nell is obviously, she is the lead character, and I love her in this movie. She is sort of going mad while staying at the house, and the house really targets her because she seems to sort of be the most susceptible, the weakest of the house. And it is really, really good. So that is that movie. Also, if you haven't read the book, Haunting of Hill House, and you're interested, you should really read it. It's not very long, and it is very, very good. And I think that's it. Did we do it? A part 2 of PG-13 horror at midnight? Are you kidding me? We did it. We did it. So, I guess that's it. That's it, people. I hope you have a very nice Scream, and I will see you in, I guess, tomorrow's video. I'm going to see The Turning tomorrow. So, hopefully, I will film a video for that when I get home. Maybe it'll have to go up on Friday, unclear. But I'm excited to see it. I listened to an interview today with the director, and I'm feeling pumped. I'm feeling pumped about The Turning. I'm really hoping it's good. But anyways, have a nice Scream, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.